This
have
conference will now be recorded.
today. I'm going to introduce, or the candidates will introduce themselves. They're going to explain why they're the best candidate to be on the board of directors. I will ask them some questions, and then we'll open up to the audience for questioning. I do want to remind everyone this is not a debate; it's question and answering, and then we'll move on to the next question. So. We'll get started. We have one of our board members online, Brad Midkiff, is joining us online again today. But we'll start off with John Shilko. You want to introduce yourself again and explain why you're the best candidate to be on the board of directors?
Oh, can you hear me? I'm John Chilcote, lot 2171, and I don't know whether I'm the best candidate. That's up to you. I got to say that we have all good candidates for you to choose from, and personally, I can support all of them. So it's your choice. Um, a couple of things about myself. My bio is on the sheet that you might have access to. I feel that I'm really blessed to be here. We came here in 2005, and we found Disneyland for adults. It was a really happy place. It has been ever since we've been here, and in my heart, I want to keep it that way. I like people. I love people, and I want to do what's best for the community. Um, I think I said this last night. If you're from a particular area, like I'm from the Villas, if you're from the Villas and you think I'm going to just vote for Villas all the time, don't vote for me because you're going to be disappointed. There's 10 sections here. There's a lot of people here. We have people here from Bermuda, and we have people here from everywhere. And it's such a joyful place. We just live together in joy and harmony, and I enjoy that. So one thing about me is I'm military, and I think military, and I follow orders. The governing documents are our written orders, and the code of conduct is our rules of engagement, and I will follow those. And if you ever catch me breaking them, or you think that I've violated something, please tell me, and I will apologize. And I mean, if I have, I will ask for forgiveness and mess up. That's just who I am. Um, and one of the, I'm a good listener. I think sometimes I get distracted, but I try to be an active listener, and I try real hard to be a peacemaker. So that's about me.
Thank you, John. Marla?
My name's Marla Festinice. I live at lot 2323. I have to say the same thing like John did. I don't know if I'm the best. I have a lot of experience, though. I volunteered on a fire department and turned it from a volunteer department to a district. And that is in itself, in which you must follow to the T rules, regulations, your open meeting laws, everything. I'm a hard worker, and I always have been. I've done multitudes of volunteering, especially with my veterans, whether it be at the VA hospital, horseback on therapy to try to get rid of their PTSD. It's just something I like to do. I care. And I do have common sense, and I'm very fiscal, responsible, especially for myself, which I'd like to bring for the community. I think we need some more peace in this area, in this neighborhood. We've got a lot of people that are just at each other's, I'll say it, at each other's throats. And I think we could how can I say this? I think we're old enough to know that we can work together. And we've been through this before. And I'd like to be one of those persons that helps on the board to do that. I enjoy everything here. I'm in, I forgot to say it last time, I'm in the Gun Enthusiast Club, Pickleball Club, Tennis Club, Billiards Club. I haven't been to the Sawmill lately, and I was in the Sawmill. I love doing all of those things. I love meeting new people, and I love helping. That is what I'm about. And we have got an extremely blessed place here at Happy Trails, and we need to continue to maintain it. So, I don't know. I think that's it. That's all I want to say right now.
Alrighty, we'll hop over to Brad online. Brad, can you hear us? You want to introduce yourself and let us know why you're the best candidate for the board of directors?
Sure. Can somebody unhide the webcam, because I can't see what's going on?
Oh, we're working on that, but we can see
Okay.
you. So if you just want to.
All righty. My name's Brad Midkiff. I'm on lot 1201. I just really feel that my input from being in business for almost 40 years and life itself would really help out with the board. I feel that we really need to get some unity in the board, and also transparency, just for the fact that that's the only way we're going to bring our family back together. So I just really feel that that's very important right now. So I really hope that I get on the board so I can start implementing that.
Thank you, Brad. Chuck?
Oh, I'm pissed, really pissed.
Lot 354.
You have to do on your computer.
Hoping to be on the board to bring
Yeah.
back the accountability and trust and openness
They do this to me every week.
dialogue between management, the board, and you as the homeowners. I've had over 20 years of public procurement and dealing with open meetings, agendas, legislative requirements, and understanding contracts and following through on those contracts and procurement to ensure that our money is being well spent, and it's that all the documentation and we're meeting all the CC&Rs, the bylaws, as well as the city, county, and state requirements.
Thank you, Chuck. Blaine?
I'm Blaine Rubish, lot 712996. I'll make a good candidate for the board. I believe that because of my life's experience dealing with HOAs, being in the military, being in leadership positions my whole life. I think I can contribute a lot to what goes on here in Happy Trails. I'm open. I'll always be open to listen to anybody who wants to come and talk about something. Not just take the word of your neighbor's cousin's friend because they're supposedly an expert in something. Come and talk to people. Get out there and question. Don't just take somebody's word for whatever they said is fact. Be willing to approach people and question people. And that's what I would do. I would be open to anybody asking me any questions about anything that's going on the board.
Thank you, Blaine. Alrighty, we'll start off with some questions. I'll go back to Mr. John Chilcote. Name one thing that you would change about Happy Trails. Why do you want to change it, and how would you go about changing it?
One thing I would change about Happy Trails is, and we're working on this right now, is the ability for us as residents and owners to be more aware of speed limits, stop signs, and lanes that we're supposed to stay in, and be more accountable, because there is recognition of the things that are are reminding us of those limits and the appropriateness of our actions. So that's one thing. But I got to say, this is an amazing place. It's hard to figure out one thing to change.
Thank you, John. We'll move on next to Marla. What do you see as a concern for our community, and what steps will you take to achieve positive results? One more time? No problem. What do you see as a concern for our community, and what steps will you take to achieve positive results?
Concern for our community. There's a few things. But I have to only pick one?
That's correct.
Okay, I got to put it toward my mouth. Okay, sorry, I'm hard about that. You know, I just want to see a more cohesive board, a more cohesive group of people that live here. I want us all to remember that we're all in this together. The board works for you, and all the committees that we can get together, they help the board figure out from all of you what would be best to keep this place going. We don't want to lose it. I don't want to lose it, and I don't think we need much more. I think we've got a lot of stuff in here to offer. So if I got on the board, there would definitely be something I would look after and want to help bring together.
Thank you. We'll go over to Brad online. Brad, have you ever served on a committee or on the board at Happy Trails? If so, which one? When? If not, why not? And what else have you been involved in?
Well, I haven't served on the board. That's obvious, but I've been in the. I've went with all the committees and sat in on them, the BG&M, the DRC, finance, and all those, and sat in and tried to give my 2 cents worth. So there's really no reason why I haven't joined the board, other than haven't really had any openings until recently. So if I had the opportunity, I'd probably be joining a couple of them because I've got some pretty good input. But I just really feel that we need to push forward and get all of our stuff straightened out so everybody's happy and so that everybody knows what's going on in our community and is happy with it. I mean, you're not going to make 100% people happy, but you're going to make the majority, especially if you listen to them and actually pay attention, not just hear them, but listen to them.
Thank you, Brad. We'll move on to Chuck. As a board member, you will make tough decisions. How do you handle conflict and resolution? One more time. As a board member, you will make tough decisions. How do you handle conflict and resolution?
Basically, I will look at what's being presented and do my research and verify the information that I've received. And then at that point, I will make a decision as an independent board member that represents the homeowners on the best outcome that it is, even if it is not meeting the rest of the board's members' decisions.
Okay, thank you, Chuck. Blaine, what do you see as the most pressing need of the resort, and how would you propose the board addresses it?
I think the most pressing need of the resort right now is to explore the possibilities of what kind of management we have. I'm not saying we need to change it. I'm just saying we don't know what we don't know. So let's look at other options. We may have the best system out there, but there are so many other things available that we could look into, such as, do we hire our own manager and let the rest of the employees work for Homeco? Do we explore other companies? Do we have everybody working for Happy Trails? We just don't know what we don't know.
All right. Thank you, Blaine. Moving back to John, what values do you bring to the board of directors?
Well, I think I bring integrity. I try to be transparent and just be who I am. And I'm an active listener. I try to give feedback and help people communicate with me, and so I fully understand what they're saying, and you know, I think relationships are the most important thing in our lives. So I'm going to strive to have good relationships with everybody that I come in contact with on the board, in the community. So I want to hear your voice and your ideas, and represent you for your best interest. I believe in agape love, which means looking out for the best of others. And so that's what I want to do in all areas of my life. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Marla, what do you feel are the differences what do you feel are the differences in responsibilities and roles for the management versus the board? What do you feel are the differences in the responsibilities and roles for the management versus the board?
Oh, okay. Well, for one thing, the board is elected by all of you. The board hires management. Board can fire management. They're supposed to work together to make sure that the meetings are running well, that the office is running well, that everybody is getting the appropriate information and the proper information that they need to. So there's not one more than the other, but it is a combination. So the management is a big part of our park. However, the board looks after it. And I guess that's about all I'd have to say, but we do have to work together. But ultimately, we are paying the management company to look after our best interest.
Thank you, Marla. Brad, online, what difference do you plan to make by being on the board of directors?
Well, I think that there's got to be some more investigations after the BG&M gets through handing off the projects, that the board has to understand the money that they're spending and that they're getting their dollars worth. I feel that I can be a big part of that, following up and making sure that the contractors that we get are qualified and that they actually do the job that they're hired to do. The BG&M does a great job, but they can only do so much. So it finally comes to the board and they make the decision to hand out the money. And I feel that there needs to be one more step of the board to be able to do that and feel good about handing that money out to the proper contractor.
Thank you, Brad. We'll go over to Chuck. Are you involved in any committees? What committee meetings do you attend regularly, and how many times?
I'm not involved in any committees directly. I have attended the finance and the DRC committees. The finance, I attended several of them. I've also belonged to several clubs, like the photography club, the Liars Club, the wood shop. I'm learning how to whittle and use some of the equipment. So I have attended quite a few of the finance and understood the process and the budget, them working on the budget.
Thank you, Chuck. Blaine, trust seems to be an issue around the community. how would you go about building trust in between the community and the board of directors?
Trust has to be earned. So if the board doesn't earn your trust, they don't deserve it. So we have to communicate with you in a way that's going to build that trust with you and allow you to come and talk to us in any scenario with any questions whatsoever.
Thank you, Blaine. John, what long-term goal do you have in mind for the resort over the next 3 years?
Well, the long-term planning documents give us a lot of insight and feedback from the community. And so there are specifics in there. One of the long-term goals that I think that we need to address is communications and security, or those are two actually. We need better communication, more transparency, obviously. And, you know, I know the communications committee has grappled with that, and you know, we just need to address that. That was one of the concerns, the hot points in the long-range planning. And then the key cards, I think that's essential for our security and access to facilities. So that's it.
Thank you, John. Marla, what do you think is the 3 attributes an applicant should have, or 3 things they should know to be a good board member?
I work hard. I'm trustworthy. I care about people. And I think that is something that really takes precedence when you're working with a group of people.
Thank you, Marla.
You're welcome.
We'll go over to Brad. How would you go about building trust in between the community and the board of directors?
Well, being a lot more transparent than we have been is the first part. The second thing I would do is I'd be more out there in the out in the park and talking to people and getting their input and explaining to them how things are as far as what's going on with the board, where we're at. You know, not the technical things, but as far as the general, you can be very honest about what's happening. And they have the right to know exactly what's going on with that board. And I think that's what we need to do for sure.
Thank you, Brad. Chuck, what is your first priority if you're elected to the board of directors?
My first priority would be to suggest that we write complete agendas and actually explain what you know, if we're moving money around and this kind of stuff, or there's bids and quotes that we show and justify that information. If we're requesting any kind of, like the signs that were presented today, we weren't quite sure if it was we were buying it or we were just getting the authorization to do it. I think that there needs to be additional information on the agenda to explain that, so me as a homeowner can come in here and actually read it without having no idea by a simple couple words.
Thank you, Chuck. Blaine, what motivated you to want to join the board? Was there a specific issue or something you'd like to see changed?
Well, what motivated me to join the board was to make sure we have quality candidates. Luckily, we have quality candidates this time around. So I mean, I'm a little confused because we sit up here and we talk about what a great place Happy Trails is, and we all agree that it's a place we want to live. But you keep asking us questions, what we're going to change and what we're going to improve and what we're going to do to make things better. I think we just need to keep working together and moving along, and the job will get done.
Thank you, Blaine. I do want to remind you that these questions were sent from the community, so concerns on the community's mind. We will now open it up to the floor. If anyone has any questions for the candidates, I will come around with the microphone and we can get your questions heard. All righty. Again, this is not a debate format, it's question and answering.
I understand. Michelle Stoltz, Lot 444. I'd like to start out by reading just the first two paragraphs of an email that was sent from Becca Paulson, our former treasurer, to the board on August 25th, 2022. Now, I did not hack somebody's email account. This email was clearly displayed in the library during the recall sessions by Roberta Ernest. As we discussed today in our executive session, Chris, our investment advisor at LPL, has suggested we take the $1 million we now have in a money market account and reinvest it in an A-plus insurance company annuity. Blaine suggested we put $500,000 in a 3-year annuity at 3.9% per annum and $500,000 in a 5-year annuity at 4.4% per annum. In addition, if necessary, we may withdraw up to 10% per year without any penalty. I'll let that set for just a second. Now, statements have been made to the effect that everything's been done to correct the mistakes of these investments that were made outside of FDIC insured instruments. I'd like to emphasize again that sentence from Becca's email. We may withdraw up to 10% per year without any penalty. Now, I'm unsure as to why Blaine, as chairman of the investment committee, nor any board member then or since has ever made a recommendation to withdraw that 10% from each annuity each year. Again, without any penalty, as doing so would have moved as much money back to FDIC insured investments as fast as possible. After all, if this had been done each year since the initial discovery, we could have had nearly $300,000 of this money reinvested back into FDIC insured instruments by now. Today at the board meeting, Jennifer read off a statement indicating that HomeCo is recommending to just hold these annuities until time passes to exceed beyond the penalty withdrawal phase. She stated that this issue will be discussed at the May 1st board meeting. So, my question to each of you is, if you are elected to the board, will you make a motion to withdraw this 10%? Why or why not?
Yes, I would make a motion. The CC&Rs in the 3.11 clearly states that the monies that we have in reserve and any kind of savings has got to be in an FDIC insured account. So the money that we have outside of an FDIC account is at risk. If you're familiar at all with risk management, you want to, and you're in a community like ours, you want to get money back out of a more risky situation and put it back where it's less risky. So that's why that FDIC ruling or that requirement is in the written documents for us to follow. So I was not aware of that. That's a good option to start withdrawing 10% penalty free and get it out of there and back into a more accessible and more secure investment.
First, Michelle, I need to ask you, did you say those were executive session minute? They were executive. How did you get them? For one thing, I didn't see the email, but anything, if it included anything about an executive session, you shouldn't have it. You can't, not executive session. Not executive sessions. Unfortunately, that's,
If Marla, if you could just stick to answering the question.
okay.
Thank you.
Sorry. I don't know my answer, but I'd have to get in and I'd have to see all the finances truly, because I've heard way too many different stories. So I'd have to do that before I say yes or no. Yes, I'm going to take it out, or no.
Thank you, Marla. We'll hop over to Brad online. Brad, you still there? Did he leave us? Okay, while we wait for him, we'll move over to Chuck.
I would review the actual documents themselves before I make any kind of a decision, because an email is not a formal contract. And as a contract, I will read it, and if the board and if taxes and whatever other outside resources would be taken into consideration, then I will make that decision.
Interesting you should bring that up, because I have suggested that. When I discovered that we had made a mistake about 3-4 months after the annuities were purchased, and they weren't the only investments that weren't FDIC insured. But for the last 2 years, we've been pulling stuff back, or when I was still involved, I'm not on the finance committee anymore. We've been pulling stuff back and reinvesting it in FDIC, but we've been waiting for them to mature. Now, the annuities are paying a very good interest rate. So it was always a question mark whether the 10% should be taken out or not. The one is maturing now in September, so we'll get the whole 500,000 plus interest back in September. And the other one, we'll have to decide. The anniversary date will be September, so you could take 10% out and 10% the following year, and then it will mature the year after that, and you'll have the whole thing back.
Thank you, Blaine. I think Brad joined us again online. Brad, did you want to answer the question? Hold on, Brad. We can't hear you just yet. Give us a second. I see your lips moving, but nothing's coming out. Go. Any? Is he muted, Dave? No. We can't hear you. I'm not sure if you're having some Wi-Fi issues, Brad, but we're not hearing you. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and move on to another question if someone has one. Questions?
Thank you. Lee Fisher, lot 1106. I have another finance question. We live in a community that has not an insignificant number of people on fixed incomes. Considering that, when you're looking at future budget, how do we raise money without severely impacting those individuals with massive increases in either HOA or one-time assessments? Have you thought about ways to doing that? If not, it's a hard question. How would you do it? Have you thought about it?
Was that for then to all the candidates? Yeah, that question was for all the candidates.
We couldn't understand that.
You want to repeat the question? Okay.
The question goes on the impact that any future increase in association dues or special assessments will have on the number of people living in this community with fixed incomes. The impact that those proposed increases will have on them. How would you do it?
Did you guys get it? That one? Okay. That was for all you guys, so whoever wants to.
Yeah, that's a tough question because, we have expenses that we have to meet. We've got an operating budget and we have reserves and savings that we need to make sure that we have in terms of risk management. We have improvements that we want to fund, and we don't want to be shocked at some point. I mean, all of us live on budgets, and all of us have prepared for retirement and saved, have enough money to live day to day, and also have enough money to maybe go on a vacation, and then have enough money to fix the dishwasher and the plumbing and when that happens. So we have to have some savings. And so the budget committee and the board of directors, we have to be sensitive to the fact that a lot of us are on fixed income, but we also have to be realist and recognize that prices are going up, and we have to maintain the facilities here, the common areas, because that's part of the board of directors' responsibilities, is to gather information and help make decisions with your input. It's kind of like the Goldilocks thing. The porridge could be too hot and it'd just be too hot for people to handle. It could be too cold and not give us enough revenue. And so the job of everybody concerned, finance committee especially, because they're the ones in HOA giving us input, you got to find the porridge that's just right.
Thank you, John. Marla?
Well, anything with future dues, and especially with people that are on fixed incomes, which, I don't know, maybe more than 50% in this resort are. We've got an awful lot in here right now as far as, I want to say, stuff. We don't need to be building anything more. We need to take care of what we've got and maintain what we've got, because a lot of it comes from what? The 80s. So it's going to have to be redone, just like anybody's house. They got to make sure they can take care of the roof and all of that. I wouldn't want to impact. I haven't enjoyed having 6% added the last, couple years, and it's going to be added again. So I'm not thrilled. So I could do my best to figure out some ways to do that, but I don't have a solution right here at the moment.
Thank you. Did we get Brad back?
Can you hear me?
Yep, we can now.
Okay. Well, we have spent a lot of money in the last 2 years on roofs, actually 3 years on roofs and roads. And in my opinion, and it's just an opinion, is that I feel that we should take care of our maintenance projects and not do any big projects for at least a year to find out where we are at. Right now, we're just guessing. We have no clue of what's going to be coming in. And my opinion is we need to take a year and just save some money. We don't have any major expenses on the horizon right now. So just take care of the maintenance items, the things that keep everything as nice as it is, and move on to the next year.
I think we caught him right as it was losing signal. Perfect timing. Chuck?
I have to agree with Brad that we need to kind of hold off on big projects until we understand what our maintenance costs are. The other thing I would probably look at is that if we're renting like this facility to any outside vendors or any people, that we actually look at what the true square footage cost of renting it to them and make sure that they pay the market rate.
Well, after being on the finance committee for 3 years, I have to disagree with Brad a little bit. The money that's been spent on these big projects is money that we've saved for many years. It comes out of the reserves. The reserves are built so those projects can be done on a timely basis. Yes, we have people in here with fixed income. Most of us have a fixed income. Luckily, some fixed a little different than others, but they're still fixed, so we have to be cautious. The board has to balance, the person who doesn't have as much income as the person, we still have to keep things up. If we don't, our property values go out and it'll cost more to have it repaired later on. Now, we only put 25% of your dues money, the HOA dues money, into the reserve account. The experts in the HOA field recommend up to 40% of your dues goes into the reserve fund. We're not going to do that. We can't. Dues would just go out of sight. So we have to work with what we have, but we do have to keep things up.
Thank you. Questions? Any other questions from the audience?
This question is for all 5 candidates. The question is, have you ever served on an HOA board? If so, where and when?
Yes, in Prescott, Arizona, Crossroads Ranch. And I wasn't on the board, but at Prescott Lakes Golf Course, yes. I was not on the board, but I served on committees. Same thing with Crossroads Ranch. They were all HomeCo. Although the first one at Crossroads Ranch, we actually got rid of HomeCo. It was not a development like this, so we found out we could manage it on our own. We weren't that many. This cannot. So there you go.
Thank you.
No.
Brad?
Can I hear the question again?
I believe it was, have you served on any HOA boards in the past?
No, I have not. Looking forward to learning a lot through the classes that are offered, and be able to serve properly, but no, I have not.
Thank you. Chuck?
I had not served on a board, but I was served on the finance committee for a HOA in Usk, Washington. It was called Skookum.
Thank you.
Yes, I've served on 2 different residences in Florida and 1 in Georgia. Every state, of course, has their own HOA rules and the way they manage them. So I know I have to do things differently here in Arizona sometimes.
Thank you. Questions? I see anybody else? I got some other new ones over here.
Bruce Function, slot 2181. First of all, anybody who is willing to run takes courage, and so I commend all of you. I don't know you, Blaine, but I've been sitting here thinking, I mean, we got here late this year, January 15th. It was right before, it just seemed like I walked into a different place. Tension, there was all sorts of stuff going on. And so I don't want to relitigate anything, but I was shocked when I saw that you were running. And, you know, all of it, you know, everybody's been talking about, we need to get us back together. Whether it was right or wrong, and I don't know what was right or wrong. I mean, half of it, you know, probably half truths on both sides. But you were a central character, and again, maybe unjustifiably so, but what is. And so I'm just wondering, how would you overcome, there's going to be a mistrust just built in, again, right or wrong, it's going to be there. And so my concern is, I've liked a lot of the things that you've said. I ran an RIA firm. I'm a registered investment advisor. My concern is, how do we get this back if you, as one of the center, I mean, you went kind of through hell. I mean, I can imagine as a husband, you know, going through that, and I could sense some built up tension in your opening statement, the way you worded things. And so my biggest concern is, if you were elected, how will you overcome that? It could be half the resort may not trust you. And that may not be justified. I want to be clear on that. But what is.
Boy, first question that got clapped. It's a very legitimate question. And I guess part of it is it's my reputation that's been trashed. And I want the chance to talk to people and straighten them out. But I know it's going to be mostly one-on-one in order for people to listen. There's a certain group that just have their mind made up and don't care what anybody says or what the facts are, and will keep passing out misinformation and half-truths because that's just the way they are. But as long as I can talk to people face to face, I will regain that trust.
Questions? Any questions? Any other questions? I got one over here.
Yes, I do have another question. This is Michelle Stoltz again from 444. As I read in that email from Becca, she clearly stated that that was discussed in an executive session to buy the annuities. An executive session that had been announced as a personnel session, so that would have made discussions of investments invalid and inappropriate. I would like to know, have each of you on the board here tell me that if you get in a position where you're in a closed executive session and something comes up and is being discussed that is inappropriate, I would like you to describe in detail what you're going to do about that, because when there's a closed session, we don't ever get minutes from those executive sessions. We are totally vulnerable to the integrity of the members of the board. So please tell me what you would do in detail if you are in that same situation.
This is John Chilcote. You know, that could happen all the time, and that could happen when 2 or 3 of us on the board happen to be sitting somewhere, or, you know. So one of the things that I have put out to my friends, when we start talking about inappropriate things, just say to me, how about those Seahawks? And that'll tell me, okay, all right, wait a minute, no, I'm going the wrong place. This is not the appropriate thing. And I think the board could use something like that, some kind of tactic. You know, accountability is a wonderful thing, and the board really needs to work together to hold each other accountable, because we're all human, and we forget. I was in a meeting the other day, and somebody got up to go to the restroom, and suddenly they didn't have a quorum, and they were talking and discussing, and one of the guys on the committee said, wait a minute, we got to stop. We don't have a quorum. Good for him. Situational awareness. We got to keep our situational awareness up and help each other stay accountable. We all want to follow the rules and live by the code of conduct, but we're human and we're going to mess up. And so if we all help each other, I think that'll just sort itself out.
Okay. If in executive session, is that what I'm hearing? Okay. Okay. Well, in executive session, within a homeowners association, there's about 5 different things majorly that they would talk about. Fire department, fire district, more like 8. But if you talk about any of those and you give out the information, that is a no-no. If I was in that session, if I was on the board, I would shut you down. And I would shut you down now. Not wait. Like the other day, there was a BGM meeting. The thing is, they lost their quorum. They continued to talk. So when I was on the fire district board, I found somebody that was in our executive session trying to tape the minutes. I had to take the tape recorder away from him, and he was sent out. So I can be I am a big stickler when it comes to rules, and especially executive session. And I am a very big person when it comes to Robert Rules of Order or the open meeting law or following the agenda appropriately.
Thank you. Brad?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. It's very, very defined of what the executive meeting is all about. Normally it's for either employees or to keep somebody, their identity protected when they're going before the board to rebut a ticket or anything like that. Other than that, there should be no decisions for us at all made at any one of those meetings. This has had to be a public thing, not a private thing. Anything to do with our finances or what happens in the resort has to be in an open meeting. That's very specific, and that was really dropped.
Thank you, Brad. Chuck?
I have to go with Brad because it is specific. It's only legal, personnel, or and homeowners appeal process. Anything outside of that, the meeting, I would request that the meeting be stopped and the meeting is over with until we go back and address those issues, only those issues only in an executive session.
Well, the executive sessions are designed where the board can discuss certain things openly about privacy of individuals here in the resort. And you wouldn't want that information being leaked out. It seems lately the executive sessions have been leaking like a sieve. I know it's driving our president crazy. Hopefully we can get a handle on that, whether it's coming from members of the board or Pillow Talk or management or wherever it's coming from. It has to be stopped. And there has to be a certain amount of privacy there, but no business of the overall association can be decided in the executive session.
Well, you had a chance to answer. We're going to open it up for other questions. Questions? Any other questions? No? I want to thank all the candidates for your time. Brad, you online as well. I wish you all the best of luck. Thank you guys all for participating and joining us. I do want to remind you that we will have the ballots available on the 14th, and then the deadline, and that's electronic and absentee ballots. So if you don't want electronic, we'll have absentee ballots available. Again, they will be available the 14th, and the deadline to have your ballots in electronically or absentee will be the 25th at 4 p.m. I believe 9 is what we have it at. 9 a.m. on the 14th is when they'll be available. You'll get in for electronic. You'll get an email sent. It will come from Happy Trails, or absentee ballots will be mailed or available at the front office. 9 a.m. on the 14th. No problem. And again, I want to thank everyone for participating. We appreciate your time, and have a great evening. Thank you.